we look at it on a view of how the market consultation can drive successful innovation procurement. So let me start this webinar. We will go shortly through agenda. So what is waiting for us today, and then I will introduce the speakers today, and yeah, and then we will dive deep into this topic of open market consultation, very important topic for the innovation procurement or just the public procurement in general. So we will have now short welcome. Then I will take floor and I will try to really introduce the topic of open market consultation. Lucia mentioned I'm a lawyer, so I will give you just maybe one or two legal definitions, not more. But we will for sure look into very practical ways how to organize open market consultation. We will describe each steps, and then we will have something very practical. We will have a real case study from our colleagues from Poland, from National Center for Research and Development. They will describe their cases of innovation public procurement and how the open market consultation as part of innovation procurement were critical for successful then the procurement. We will have a short break, just of 10 minutes, and then we will be joined by our colleague from INPROCAP project, Nikolai from Danish Technological Institute, and he will discuss a very interesting topic of industry days, which is very typical for a big science organization sector. And we might then compare it with the open market consultation. What are the similarities and differences, and how both work for the suppliers and the buyers. Then at the end, we will have a Q&A session. So we will be collecting questions throughout this webinar, and we will answer them at the end. And also we will welcome some other comments from your side. So what are the objectives today? So as I said, we will introduce the concept of open market consultation to you. You will master the basic principles, which are very important for open market consultation. You will learn from a real case study of our colleagues from the Poland. We will explore supplier engagement practices in big science sector from a colleague from Danish Technological Institute, and then we will understand some similarities and differences between these open market consultation and industry days. I will introduce today's speaker. So Lucia introduce myself, and I'm glad that we can welcome Katarzyna Lenart from National Center for Research and Development. She's Deputy Director of Innovation Procurement and Green Technologies, and she has hands-on expertise in innovation partnership and pre-commercial procurement, particularly in the field of green technologies. She will have also time to introduce herself again during their session, and also obviously their institute. I'm glad that we are joined also by Agata Rakowska, also from National Center for Research and Development. She's Director of Innovative Public Procurement Programs. I very appreciated, in fact, this National Center has specific department for innovation public procurement. So I'm very happy about that. She has extensive experience in designing and implementing innovation procurement programs that translate policy priorities into practical tools for public authorities. So my name is Josef Kubinec. As Lucia said, I'm an innovation procurement expert, and together with our colleagues in INPROCAP, we are delivering these trainings and webinars on innovation procurement practices. And then Nikolai, he will explain the concept of, as I mentioned, Industry Day. He's from Danish Technological Institute and also a representing coordinator of this INPROCAP project. He's a director of Big Science Center and ILO for CERN, ESRF, and European XFEL. And he will share practical insights into how structured market dialogue strengthens collaboration between industry and major European research infrastructure. So without further ado, let's start with the topic of introduction to open market consultation. So what does it really mean, the open market consultation? You can understand this part of innovation procurement process as formalized dialogue between the contracting authority, so the buyer on one side, and the other entities on the other side. And these are usually suppliers, economic operators, but they can be also independent experts, academia, and aim is to obtain answers to how the contracting authority problems can be solved. So this is some general definition. I have one more. Um, you can imagine it also as a structured dialogue between a contracting authority and the market before launching the procurement procedure. This is very important. This is done before the public procurement itself. So you have to understand this is not a procurement procedure itself. This is a preparatory step. And as we know in public procurement, and obviously also in innovation procurement, the preparatory phase of procurement is, I think, one of the most, if not the most important part of this buying process. Because if we are making or if we do mistakes during the preparatory phase, very often these mistakes cannot be solved in the later phases. Only, for example, by canceling the procedure, it takes time. So you can also imagine these open market consultation. Sometimes I might use the word preliminary market consultation. This is the usual word we use within the public procurement context. But within the innovation procurement context, we rather use open market consultation. And you can imagine it as a glass, as a magnifying glass into the market. So the aim is really for the procurer to gather intelligence on available solution, capacities, and pricing, and some other topics that we will describe later on, to prepare successful procurement in the future. This process we are going to describe today, and we will share the examples with you. This can be, in fact, applicable to all types of procurement. So you can use this concept of preliminary market consultation also in the normal procurement procedures. So if you decide to buy something that you know that can be buy directly from the market, so the costs, something that is already there on market. But for sure, and especially, this is very valuable for innovation procurements where requirements are uncertain, where you are going to discuss with the economic operator suppliers if they can address your unmet needs. So in the end, you find out that in fact there are no suppliers that can deliver the technologies or deliver the solutions. They can address all your needs and challenges. Um, we will be using during this session couple of questions to you. And this is the first one. We are using the tool called Mentimeter. The question here is, what is the first word that comes to your mind when you hear open market consultation? How does it work? This is word cloud, so you will be able in a while to insert only one word that come to your mind when you hear open market consultation. And to give us your answer, you go either to website mentimeter.com and use code 63312330, or you should be able to scan the QR code, and this QR code will directly drives you to the web page where you will be able to vote. I have to now start the process, so um, I will give you a couple of seconds for all of you to scan the QR code, and you just wait a little bit because I have to switch off the presentation and I have to start the Mentimeter application. So I give you 1, 2 seconds, and I think you should be able to scan the QR code now. And I will switch, sorry, to Mentimeter now. And You should be able to give us your answer. Remember, just one word, but you can put multiple times. So you can put one or only one word, but you can vote multiple times. And I give you still some time, and then I will show you the answers. How does it exercise works? So this is word cloud. So the word that comes more often will be shown larger to others that don't come that often, and it will be also in the middle. So we have now 23 answers, 23 votes. Okay. And you see now the answer. So we see in the middle innovation. So most of you voted that when you hear open market consultation, your the first thing that's come to their mind is innovation, and this is, as I said, a very important tool for innovation procurement in general. Of course, these open market consultation are part of open market of innovation procurement, for example, pre-commercial procurement. But really, this is a tool where you can ask the suppliers what is the state of the art on the market, and maybe they give you answers that you were not expecting. So, in fact, you are promoting innovation. Then, what we see there? We see research. So, uh, in fact, most of the pre-commercial procurement, so the instrument within the innovation procurement, are basically the way how we fund research and development services. So excellent opportunity. I see here, I really like opportunity, because the open market consultation is in fact opportunity not only for public buyers to understand what is the state of the art on the market, but this is also opportunity for suppliers, companies, startups to understand what are the needs of public buyers, and then have opportunity to present their solutions to them. You can even conduct like a pitching session. I will explain that a little bit later. We see the price. We see transparency. Transparency is one of the principles that have to be obeyed during the open market consultation. And freedom, I understand freedom. In fact, it is freedom because it's slightly regulated by directives on public procurement. But as I said, this is a pre-procurement process. So you have some freedom how you want to organize this open market consultation. Thank you all for voting. And let me come back to the presentation. So thank you for your votes. Let's get to understanding the legal basis. I promise just one slide, not to bore you very much. So uh, we have a clear legal mandate to use open market consultation or preliminary market consultation. It's mentioned in a directive on public procurement 2014-24 EU in Article 40, and there is mentioned that before launching a procurement procedure, contracting authorities may conduct market consultation with a view to preparing the procurement and informing the economic operators of their procurement plans and requirements. So, really, this article permits pre-procurement market engagement. Key conditions: you must not distort competition. You must not violate non-discrimination and transparency. These are some of the basic principles. And information shared with an operator must be available to all. We have then Article 41, which complements this, and this in general, we don't have to go into details here. This article addresses prior involvement of candidates, so suppliers, and how to handle potential conflict of interest. What is important to understand if you are doing some public procurement procedures, innovation procurement procedures that are governed by public procurement rules or your own country, then maybe some specific national transposition may add specific rules. So you have to always check your local legislation. Uh, as I said, open market consultation is one of the steps of innovation procurement journey. Here you see very typical AFIB methodology, step-by-step process. So we are following, in fact, to some extent, this process also in our trainings. So we already did a training, a webinar on need assessment and prioritization. We did discuss state-of-the-art analysis. And now we are in the phase of open market consultation, which happens before you actually build your business case and then you launch the procurement procedure. So, what we have to understand open market consultation, and I mentioned it in the beginning, but it's important to again state that consultation are not binding. They are pre-procurement process, so they are exploratory. When do you conduct this procedure? This is after the SOTA or after the state of the art analysis. So after the initial market analysis. So you analyzed your needs. You find out that you have, in fact, some unmet needs that probably cannot be addressed by market. Then you do the state of the art analysis. You do the patent search and you do market analysis. You send the surveys. You try to understand the market as it is. And then after you collect this initial information and maybe you're even drafted tender specification, then you need to go to the open market consultation to the suppliers and ask them a couple of questions. What is a typical timeline? Well, would really depends. In usual projects that we or I have experience with, it usually take 2 to 3 months within the pre-commercial procurement. But when we were doing also typical public procurement procedure in Slovakia, at the Ministry of Interior, it could even take us 6 months. But we were also quite successful with one when we were able to made it in 1 month. So it really depends on complexity of a procurement subject of the tender. What is important also to mention, so who is responsible or who is organizing the open market consultation within the organizations of a public buyer? So this would really depend on the organizational structure of organization. So what we understand is that for some of the BSO public procurers organizations, for example, European Exfel, who are in fact the partner of INPROCAP, their organizational structure allows the technical department, pre-procurement, so department who is responsible for pre-procurement actions and market analysis. So they would be responsible for driving the open market consultation. So obviously they need the cooperation with other units, other departments like public procurement department, but they're one leading. In some other organizations, we have seen that, in fact, the public procurement department were organizing the public procurement, but with the help of technical and maybe also legal department. So benefits. Why would you organize this process of open market consultation? Why would you speak with the market? First of all, you need to validate market capability. So especially for pre-commercial procurement, in the end of open market consultation, you either have a confirmation that solution exists on the market that can fulfill your needs, then you don't need to go to the innovation procurement procedures, to the innovation partnership or pre-commercial procurement. You just use normal public procurement procedures and you buy something off the shelf. But if you find out in the end that there are in fact no solution that can address all your needs, then the innovation procurement would be answer. You can use open market consultation to refine your technical specification. So basically, you would avoid overspecification or underspecification by learning what the market can actually deliver. So you save your time if you don't do this procedure, and you would launch the procurement itself. You might find out that in fact there are no suppliers that can fulfill all your technical specification or requirements, and you would have to cancel. What I find very important is to build market awareness. So you, by organizing open market consultation, signal to the signal to the market that there are upcoming opportunities very early, and then you would have more competitive tenders. I have an example from very complex uh, pre-commercial procurement process. It's called the PCPYs. It's for R&D services to develop new models of soil water saturation levels. And there we did a very thorough open market consultation. And even though it's a very complex procedure, we were able to get 25 offers. So very important also that factor. You are able to identify innovative solution. You can discover approaches that the procurator did not know about, and then you also assess supplier interest. So are there in fact any suppliers that are able to compete? I already mentioned several times basic principles. So these principles comes from the directive on public procurement. You have equal treatment, non-discrimination, and transparency. What does it mean? So transparency and equal treatment. All participants receive the same information at the end. What we usually do is that we publish open market consultation report, and we publish it on our website of the projects of innovation procurement projects. What does it mean? No discrimination and competitive preservation. No participants gain an unfair advantage in subsequent tender. Uh, it's very important that you have good documentation for possible later audit trail. So you record who was consulted, what was discussed, and what was decided. We will go into more details what should be part of this report from open market consultation. And then you should also manage a possible conflict of interest, because you need to identify mitigate situation where a consultant or advisor may later bid. So then you need to use some measures. And these measures are in fact described in Article 41 of Public Procurement Directive. So you share all information, and this is in fact done usually through sharing at the end of this process reports from open market consultation. Um, Now, how you would organize these open market consultations? There are some traditional formats and some digital formats and some innovative, let's say. So, in fact, what would you usually have is you would have these hybrid approaches, combining several of these methods. So, very traditional would be to have a physical meetings with the suppliers. So these are in-person session at your facility. These are good for very technical discussion and relationship building. Obviously, there is some limited geographic reach. So what you can do is you will combine them with the digital format, and you would make it in a hybrid format. And sometimes, and this is not very typical for innovation procurement processes, but let's say for typical public procurement procedures, you would have a site visits. So when we were doing public procurement at my other work, of when we were procuring the works reconstruction of building new buildings, it's quite often you see these site visits where suppliers can come and see on their site how does it look in fact on site. You would have typically digital format, so online webinars where you would present the challenges, and then you will have a space for suppliers to ask a question. Sometimes what is also suggested is even before having these hybrid meetings, you can send to the possible suppliers that you know of this questionnaire, a request for information, where you would basically collect some important information. And then there are some innovative formats. Maybe I would here point out a pitching session. So you can also incorporate in your open market consultation in pitching sessions. What does it mean? That in fact suppliers would have 5 to 10 minutes each to present their solution to your challenge and to your need. And this is also, in fact, a very good method how to get to know what is there on the market, what is the state of the art. We prepare this, let's say, 10-step process, how you can organize open market consultation. So in the beginning, it's very important to define objectives. So what specific questions you need answering to? We will get to back to some suggestion of a question that you can ask. You need to choose the format. So is it going to be webinar? Is it going to be survey? Or is it going to be combination? You need to develop then the materials, the presentation, questionnaire, use cases, scenarios, descriptions. You set the timeline. As I said, typical 6 to 12 weeks. Then you publish announcement for open market consultation. We did in the pre-commercial procurement is really mandatory to publish it through the tender European daily on a European level. If it is financed, also through European funds or European Commission funds. Obviously, you need to manage the registration of suppliers. You are then conducting open market consultation. You can have several rounds of open market consultation. It's very important that you then document everything that happens during the session. Good practice is, in fact, that you record the sessions, and then you might use this recording for your internal purposes. You can have that in the documentation from public procurement, and you can use it also for taking then the notes, minutes from those meetings. Very importantly, then you need to analyze the results. So synthesize what you have found and how you are going to transfer what you learn into your description of subject of the tender or qualification criteria, and how you are basically going to transfer what you learn to the tender specification and tender documents itself. And at the end, you publish, as I said, this report. So planning. I will go just through some of the parts of this 10-step process to get some interesting ideas for you there. You need to start early, as I said. Preparation is very important. Objective. So in the beginning, you need to understand, and you need to understand also with your technical team, technical partners, and public procurement department, what are the objectives of doing the open market consultation. What do you need to learn from the market? So is it technical feasibility? Are you going to ask for the cost benchmarks? So in fact, for example, to find out if you have the budget to finance the R&D services. And also, are you going to identify the supplier pool size? Are there going to be enough suppliers to bid for this tender? Then you need to understand what is your target audience. So who should participate? Uh, Obviously, not only established suppliers, but you would like to invite also some SMEs and startups if you can. Invite industry association and clusters, and they might then forward the invitation to the suppliers they have in their portfolio. And as I said, very important is to align yourself within your organization. So you ensure the procurement, technical, and legal teams agree on the scope and approach. Preparing the right questions. So really, what kind of questions you are going to ask the suppliers during the open market consultation, during the on-site session or hybrid? And so I can give you some advices on some interesting question to ask. Obviously, in the beginning, you would like to have the company details, so you understand who will have, in fact, maybe interest to bid in your tender. Then you are going to present the PCP challenge and the requirements to them. So you would ask the market afterwards if they understand what is your challenge, and then you are going to ask them also what is the current solutions, what are the potential innovation they can offer. Technical feasibility. Can your solution, so you ask the supplier, meet the given requirement? What is the TRL level? What are the main risks? You address also the thing you identifying in state of the art analysis. So how many comparable solutions exist? What is different? Differentiate yours with the others. You need to understand also timeline. Uh, what you have written in a tender document, is this in fact realistic? Are they suppliers on the market that can deliver such a solution, or R&D services? And then you can have obviously some other open-ended question. A tip here would be send your question in advance, give suppliers at least 2 weeks to prepare, then combine a written form with the follow-up. Uh, when it comes to execution, some tips here. For sure, in the beginning, you need to prepare structured agenda with clear question. Allow enough time for suppliers to prepare, as I said before, 2 4 weeks. What is also interesting, if you have a feeling that there might be some very sensitive information, and if you would be organizing the preliminary market consultation in open setup, and you are afraid that in fact the suppliers will not speak in front of other suppliers because of sensitive information or know-how, then you can have also one-to-one meetings. Obviously, this can take a longer time. Very important documentation, record all interactions, use standardized templates for consistency, note both explicit answers and implicit signals. Engagement, so as I said, it's important to publish it either on your website, in specific cases, also on a Tender European Daily portal. Use industry networks, clusters, BSO supplier databases to send information about organizing such open market consultation. When you collect then the answers from the suppliers and feedback, you need to analyze it and report. So identify patterns. What did most suppliers agree on? Where did they diverge? What surprised you? You need to validate your assumptions. So were your initial requirements realistic? Does the market offer alternatives to your you haven't considered before? And then you need to prepare a report. Here on the right, if you can see it, this is example of Shield for Crowd CSA project that we conducted. This was preparation for pre-commercial procurement on protective public spaces from different types of attack. And you see here, we then at the end published the report where we described activities and timetable. We described open market consultation results. We inserted summary of replies to the survey that we conducted. We describe follow-up PCP, so describe how this feedback will inform the final PCP, pre-commercial procurement strategy or innovation partnership strategy, and then in fact conclusions. You will have obviously this presentation also at your disposal. We will send it after the webinar, and it will be published on ours also on our site if you would like to go back to some details. So, and then you need to at the end incorporate these insights you learn. So you need to bridge that to the tender documents. So bridge that to the technical specification, functional or prescriptive. You also take into consideration what you learn about possible award criteria and weightings if you are not going for the lowest price. Contract structure and lot division if you are going to have several lots to bid on, timeline and milestones. I give you another example. This is from the project called Intercept. This was development of R&D services for safe stopping of some vehicles. My experience is mostly from civil security, so I give you examples that are closer to mine heart. And you here you see a timeline of such open market consultation. So you see here we started February 2025 publication at the TED portal, and then we end of the March had publication of OMC documents. We conducted webinars in different languages. You can do that also if you are going to organize joint cross-border public procurement. So buyers from different states. Then 1 week after the end of the webinars, there was a submission for questions. End of the May, we had a preliminary open market event based on the findings, and then on June we had the final OMC major event, and first week of July we published the report. And here, this is another interesting example. This was a PPI, so Public Procurement of Innovative Solution for HPC, High Performance Computing. And there, after their procedure, they published the white paper. And they said that market consultation have in fact several benefits, such as for the technical aspects, it helps you in reviewing common and law specific requirements. There is improvement of definition and clarification of some requirements, and for legal and procedural aspects, you can address in a joint cross-border public procurement, so really complex procedures, conflict of laws during the procurement procedure, subcontracting clarification on the application form, so how the suppliers will send their tenders, language, and analysis of candidate qualification. So now, from my side, this is the end. But before, I would like to ask you a question again through the Mentimeter. So, after this presentation, how confident are you that your organization could run an open market consultation today? And this is not word cloud exercise, this is a scale. So if you would put a 1, not at all confident, or 5, it would mean very confident. And again, you just scan the QR code here, or you can go to mentimeter.com, insert the code, and in a couple of seconds, I will switch off and I will launch the exercise. So how confident are you that your organization could run an open market consultation today? And now you should be able to vote and give your answers. Let me see if we have already some answers. So you see here, average is 3.1. We are raising 3.2. So that's somewhere in the middle. So somewhere in the middle. So you are quite confident, but not absolutely confident that you can run open market consultation. And for you, I have a good news, because now you will hear more about open market consultation. As I said, our colleagues from Poland, they will present their experience with open market consultation. So we hope that this number could raise after presentation, but obviously, let's see. So thank you very much. I will now stop sharing, and I'm very happy that now I give a floor to Agata and Katerina. Please tell us about your organization, what you do in Poland, what are you responsible for, what are your experience with innovation procurement and your experience with open market consultation, because I know that you are running some EU-wide open market consultation for very specific and interesting topics that could be in fact relevant also for big science organizations. So floor is
Yes,
yours. You should be able, I think, to share the
yes,
presentation.
yes. Everything is right. Thank you very much, Joseph, for a great introduction. And I am a little bit ashamed if I could, meet the expectations of our audience today, because I can agree totally with all of you have just said, and I can confirm that it's true, totally true. Lessons learned are something that I will share with you in a few minutes. So yes, it was a really great introduction, and Well, for us, the plan for today's session is that I will start with open market consultations, and then Agata will share with you our experiences with the, let's say, outcomes of these market consultations. I mean, here, pre-commercial procurements. And so I will try to share with you with my presentation. Sorry, I must. Oh my God, it's not that simple, I would say. And that's why I've said I will try. I voted for
you.
5. I voted for 5. Could you confirm it's visible?
Yes, it's visible in a present, in a good mode. Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you very much. I voted for 5 because the National Center for Research and Development is engaged in has been engaged in innovation procurement for several years, nearly 10 years, and in order to prepare well for the innovation procurement, we decided to include open market consultations in each of the preparation processes for the future PCPs. But starting with my presentation, I would like to introduce to you the National Center for Research and Development. We are an executive agency of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education in Poland. We are a governmental agency, and our goal is to support the development of innovative technological social solutions and to find, let's say, to create an ecosystem of knowledge and information on innovations. And in general, we are the largest support center for the creation of innovative solutions and in Central and Eastern Europe. And well, practically, we support our beneficiaries, our contractors, mainly financially, because we conduct grant programs. But as I said earlier, from 10 years, we've been conducting innovation procurement, and we could see that this approach, this innovation procurement formula, is also a great tool to support the let's say, increase of the innovativeness of the economy. Here you can see our motto, the future is happening with us, and this is a motto that leads us in our daily work, let's say daily basis, because we look for the solutions of the future. We don't want to, look for, let's say, conventional, traditional technology solutions, but we look for something that could be useful and that would fit the future challenges. And also, we are an intermediate body for 2 programs, European Funds for Smart Economy and also European Funds for Social Development. We conduct both national and international programs, and we are also engaged in the programs for national security and defense. And we also have a department that is dedicated to support commercialization of the technologies that were developed under our instruments. And here you can see our group of NCBR, because we are not only the NCBR itself, but also we have, for example, CES Enterprise or NIF, and they are also dedicated to specific tasks related to the support of our beneficiaries. And speaking of innovation procurement, we have specific experience in innovation procurement. So far, we've conducted 12 PCPs, 12 pre-commercial procurements, 2 innovation partnership procurements, and we also tried once a grant challenge competition formula. In general, our areas of interest are green and energy transition and digital transition, because we can see that, for example, in Poland, we face specific challenges related to such fields, and we want to, deliver some solutions that could address these challenges. And here we can see that innovation procurement formula is quite effective and may be an answer for challenges that we may face in the future. And here you can see the list of our pre-commercial procurements that we have conducted. These were the procurements related to energy generation and storage, technologies for buildings and sustainability. And Agata will tell you more in the next presentation about these procurements. But I can say that each of these PCPs let's say in the preparation phase for each of these PCPs, we conducted open market consultations, and I will show you how we did it. In general, I will make some short introduction for this part of my presentation. Joseph has perspective. I will focus myself on the Polish perspective. So for open market consultation, we have a basis of the Polish public procurement law, and this is article number 84. And well, this article, as long as, for example, the directive of public procurement, European directive, give us flexibility, it's also our official way to discuss with the market, because we are public institution, we are a governmental institution. So everything we do, everything we perform, everything we execute, we need to do it according to procedures, according to law. So if we want to discuss with the market specific assumptions for the future procurement, innovation procurement, this is our only way to get in touch with the market, to discuss with them, let's say, freely under specific conditions that I will mention later. And as I said earlier, it's this basis and the European directives as well gives us a flexibility in terms of organizing OMC, in terms of the duration of this OMC. And for example, we can define freely the scope of this OMC. We can, for example, focus on the deepening the state-of-the-art analysis. We can focus on, for example, getting the knowledge on the solutions that are available on the market. We can, for example, focus on the conditions of the future procurement. We can also precise the subject of the future procurement. So here we can freely define what we would like to discuss. We have also a flexibility in terms of the rules for conducting OMC, and I mean here participants, because, for example, I will show it in a minute, but I think that it's worth mentioning here that in general, for our innovation procurement, we admitted to OMC, let's say, the great majority of the contractors, academia, research institutes, and other stakeholders. But we also had such open market consultations that were dedicated solely only to the public institutions, because we had a case in which we needed to engage public institutions to be our partner in a preparation phase for PCP. And for such engagement, for such cooperation, we also conducted open market consultation, because we wanted not only to understand, to verify whether public institutions had such challenge as we defined, but also we wanted to verify our assumptions for the future proceeding for such partner, because we wanted to conduct it in an open procedure. We can also define or not define admission criteria. For example, we had such open market consultation in which we didn't define admission criteria, but we also had such market consultations where we defined some admission criteria, because, for example, we didn't want it to meet all of the participants. We wanted to narrow down the group that could be admitted to the OMC. And for example, these were the criteria related to experience, fields of their business activity, etc., etc. We also had some selection criteria in some of the open market consultation, because once we started to conduct OMC, we had totally no experience. So we defined our rules for conducting OMC in such way that we were obliged to meet each of the OMC participants that were admitted to OMC. And to be honest, it was for us time consuming, because we hadn't expected that, for example, 20 or 30 participants would be admitted. And yes, but we were obliged to meet them. So in the next open we defined some selection criteria. So, for example, in case that we would have, for example, more than 20 applications form or participants that would like to be admitted to OMC, we could narrow down the number of the participants with whom we would like to meet in person or via Teams or something like that. We can also adjust the application period, etc., etc. So we have specific flexibility given by that legal basis. And as Josef said earlier, we have also that flexibility in terms of the form of OMC. In general, such forms that you can see in here, these are the forms that we used. We had group meetings, we had individual meetings, we had some correspondence. Let's say it was like information sent to all of the participants, and we get some answers from these participants. We also had video conferences. So I think that open market consultations, in terms of flexibility, it's a great tool, because we can adjust them to our specific needs. Why you shouldn't skip open market consultation. And basing on our experience, open market consultations allowed us to clarify, to precise the scope of the future procurement. So, for example, once we started, or once we considered conducting open market consultations, we had some assumption of the future procurement. Sometimes we had, for example, some more precise description of the subject of the procurement, but sometimes we had only some general assumptions. So this open market consultations, for us, it was a great help because we could discuss, for example, mandatory requirements. We could discuss some technical parameters, and owing to that, we could prepare the future procurement in a such way that would be feasible. And this is my second bullet here. Owing to open market consultations, we can determine the feasibility of the expected solution. So we can discuss our assumption, or we can discuss our assumption, we can discuss what we want to achieve with what is doable, what is achievable by the market. We can also identify the capabilities of potential contractors in terms of developing the solutions. So, for example, owing to open market consultations, we can decrease the risk of failing with our procurement, because, for example, we can launch this procurement, but no one will apply. And even if someone will apply, they may be not able to finalize such procurement. So for us, it's a crucial step. And we also can verify our assumptions, not only in terms of technical parameters, technical requirements, but also in terms of the budget and the schedule. Because, for example, we have, for example, a specific budget. We have some limitations of the budget, and owing to open market consultations, we can check whether our future solution, our expected solution, is doable within a specific given budget and a specific given schedule. And we also, as Josef said earlier, we can raise the market awareness of the future procurement. And of course, don't forget what has just been said today, that we as contracting authority during OMC, we cannot distort competition or violate the principles of equal treatment, and we need to ensure non-discrimination and transparency. And the most important thing, once you launch open market consultations, you don't need to finish with the initiation of the procurement, of the launching of the proceedings. So you can finish your open market consultation just on market consultation, and that's all. And I would like to share with you two specific case studies. The first case study will be market consultation over several months, and it was, let's say, our model that we worked out in NCBR. But I would like experiences on the open market consultation based on EFIP methodology, and I am glad that Josef also has mentioned it earlier. Yeah, but starting with the market consultation over several months. Of course, this consultation was conducted before PCP, specifically for our Green Deal technology. So, as I mentioned earlier, for each of the PCP procurement in the field of Green Deal, we conducted open market consultation. And here, our goals were to clarify the subject of the future procurement, because, as I said earlier, we had specific assumption, we had specific requirements for the future solution. We had, for example, minimal requirements, technical requirements, and we wanted to verify them with the market. We also revise, our goal was to revise the assumption for the future procurement in terms of budget, in terms of the number of the contractors, in terms of number of the PCP stages, in terms of schedule, etc., etc. So it was very important to us because we didn't want to launch a procurement that wouldn't be, let's say, attractive and also doable by potential contractors. And we also wanted to verify the scale of the market, whether on the market there were sufficient number of let's say contractors, potential contractors that could apply for us and that could compete with each other during PCP. The duration of our market consultations over several months, it was usually 5 to 6 months with several rounds of meetings with participants. And it looked like that we had direct meetings with our participants. For each meeting, we had a specific scenario, and such scenario was used for with participants, so we could treat our participants equally. And we had several rounds. And here I mean that after each round, we got our PCP documentation, tender documents, our assumptions more detailed. We changed some assumptions, and then we came back to our participants to discuss these changed assumptions once again. And yes, and it took us very long to finalize the tender documents, and but for us it was very efficient because we created such procurements that were attractive to our contractors. And yes, we had direct face-to-face meetings, we had conferences and telephone conversations, but well, to be honest, as I said earlier, it was time-consuming. And the participants here were entities with experience and expertise in a given subject area. And these were, for example, research institutes, academia, SMEs, startups, inventors, and other stakeholders. And in this case of these market consultations over several months, we defined some admission criteria. So in application form, we gave some criteria. We wanted our participants to share with us with specific information on their R&D potential, or for example their experience in R&D, their experience in a specific subject area. So yes, here we had admission criteria. And we also had a documentation, and we published this documentation in our Bulletin of Public Information of NCBR. We had, let's say, prior information notice announcement of the open market consultations. We had an application for admission to participate in open market consultations. We also included the description of the subject of future procurement, so our potential participants could decide whether such scope is interesting for them or not. And then once we finished OMC, we published information on the completion of open market consultations. We also had OMC report, and it was our internal document because it was report including let's say sensitive information on the persons that participated. So it was according to our internal procedure, but I think that I should mention it here. And during the open market consultation, we discussed in particular solutions available on the market, the subject of the future procurement, innovations or innovative functionalities that could be developed as a part of this expected solutions, because we had our ideas for innovations, but we wanted to verify whether such innovations are feasible or not, or is it just our dream, let's say. And yes, we also discussed the schedule, the cost of R&D works, key terms of the contract, because it also was rather important. And for example, we discussed in here intellectual property rights, or advance payments, etc., etc. And also we discussed evaluation criteria, but not precisely specifically, but let's say in a high level, and other aspects crucial to solving the challenge. And the average number of OMC participants, it depended on the subject of future procurement. We had, for example, such OMCs that were participated by 6 participants, but also we had such OMCs that were rather popular, I would say, with 20 participants. And even we had once such OMC that was quite popular. It was like 40 participants, and it was, it was really difficult to meet them all. And in general, our OMCs led us to precise the scope and the subject of the future procurement. And we ended our OMC shortly before launching the procurement, because till the end we wanted to have this opportunity to to discuss something with our participants. And the second case, OMC based on EFIP methodology, it's for us it was a revolution, because we had that approach that OMC has to be several months long, and this EFIP approach was quite revolutionary for us. But what is EFIP? European Assistance for Innovation Procurement is a European initiative that supports public procurers in development and implementation of innovation procurement, PCP, PPI. And they also promote good practices in this area of innovation procurement, and they have some educational activities like webinars, workshops, and toolkits. And of course, in this case, OMC was conducted before potential pre-commercial procurement, and the goal was to validate the results of the state-of-the-art analysis and technical and financial provision. It was also a goal to get insights from the industry and stakeholders to fine-tune tender specifications and raise awareness in scope of the future PCP. It was basing on our previous experience, it was shorter because it was 2 months long with the Christmas. So yeah, I think it could be even shorter. And here it was, for us, it was a quite innovative form, because here we have a questionnaire for participants. We based on EU survey. We also had 2 webinars, webinars in Polish and a webinar in English. And we presented their assumptions of this consultation, PCP approach, what we want to achieve, etc., etc. And during these webinars, the participants had an opportunity to ask us questions, because we had Q&A session. We also had here e-pitching sessions. It was 10 minutes long presentations of participants. And here it was, let's say, one one-way communication, because it was like a presentation of a specific participant. And well, to be honest, basing on our experience from such e-pitching sessions, we think that we needed more time, or participants needed more time to present themselves, because they had, let's say, specific solutions for our challenge, and they wanted to present them very precisely. But we had only 10 minutes, but still it was worth it. And we get really great information from that e-pitching sessions. And also, basing on the questionnaires that we get, we prepared OMC report, summing up the questionnaires. Here we published this report on our bulletin of public information, and sometimes we needed to anonymize the answers from the questionnaire. And participants were all interested party. For example, SMEs, startups, end users like cities and other stakeholders, and potential contractors. And the subject of this OMC was the procurement, future procurement for the ICT tools for energy transition. That is why we also welcomed the municipalities, the cities that could be the end users of such ICT tools. And speaking of OMC documentation published in Tenders Electronic Daily and our Bulletin of Public Information, we had, of course, prior information notice. We have announcement of the OMC in our Bulletin of Public Information, registration form, request for information questionnaire, challenge brief, and use cases description. It was also described so potential participants could get the knowledge on the challenge. We also published OMC report and information on the completion of OMC. And here I think that you could expect the list of the information that we exchanged, but unfortunately it will be a different one, because during the OMC we presented our goal, our challenge, use cases, PCP approach during this webinars, 2 webinars. Participants submitted their detailed information on the subject of OMC via questionnaires. And participants who were willing to present their entities and their solutions took part in e-pitching sessions. So there was no obligation for the participants that filled up the questionnaire to participate in e-pitching sessions. And of course we had this OMC report that gathered all of the information via questionnaire. And here the number of OMC participants was 4. And well, our OMC has to verify defined use cases, verified ability of the market to address our challenges, and deepen state-of-the-art analysis. And speaking of our lessons learned from OMC, and here I will totally confirm what Joseph has presented today. Think which information you would like to get through OMC, because maybe not all of the information that you could get from OMC is necessary for your future procurement. And think who may give you such information, because you may narrow down, for example, let's say the potential participants, the group that could participate in OMC. Adjust the form of OMC to your needs and to your possibilities, because you don't have to do like us, for example, that we met with 20 participants each meeting for 2 hours. So yeah, so it took us very long. and promote your OMC. It is very crucial to promote, to raise awareness of your OMC, so you could get more participants and act proactively, as Josef has said. We had such OMCs for which we listed potential participants. We prepared a long list of potential participants, and we just sent an information that hello, we would like to. We announce our open market consultations. The announcement is published here. So if you are interested, please read the announcement and decide whether you would like to participate or not. And remember that OMC is not an obligation to launch the procurement. This is, I think this is crucial. And also, I think that is worth mentioning that in Poland, our public procurement office supports open market consultations in a way that they published on their website templates for OMC documentation. So here you can see regulations for OMC, the announcement of OMC, and the application form. And as far as I know, some of the public procurers from Poland uses such templates, and yes, and that's why they just conduct such a formula. And we also in NCBR we also conduct a project, innovative public procurement, and as a part of such projects, we also try to educate the public procurers, especially in terms of open market consultations. So you are all welcomed to our conferences or workshops. And from my side, that's all. Thank you very much, and I am giving floor to Agata.
Thank you, Kasia. And I will try to short and to give you some interesting examples of our experience. I don't know if you can see, but
yes, we can see.
But also, I think that you can see with my notes or not, because
no, it's fine without the
okay.
notes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes, I want to share with you our experience with pre-commercial procurement projects. As Kasia said, that in this methodology, we have launched the 9 PCPs project focusing on Green Deal transformation. And this project will result in 22 full-scale technology demonstrators. And I would like to show you some most significant projects which deals with the green solutions for energy efficient buildings. The first project is process and energy efficient building construction. And why we have decided to launch such PCP project, and according to statistics and previous analysis which we took in 2019, 2020, we were aware that Poland had a great problem with buildings that are totally inefficient in terms of energy. And EU itself, their buildings are responsible for 40% of energy consumption. So we were also aware of energy poverty and of the demographic problems such as aging of society. That's why we have decided to define some challenges for new building constructions. And the first one was modularity and prefabrication, and quality standardization, short construction time, finished interiors, and low price. The second one was the Green Deal policy. So we want buildings which has a positive energy balance, BMS system, zero emissions, closed cycles, rainwater, and which was made by recycled materials, low carbon footprint, and also can be adapted to the climate change. And the third one was dedicated building solutions as adaptation to the needs of residents. And we conducted the three separate buildings, the social housing, the senior housing, and single family housing. And after open market consultations, which was a challenge for us those times, because we have started them during the deep pandemic time. It was the spring of 2020. We set the mandatory requirements for the technologies and the prefabrication, short construction time, energy efficiency, scalability of solutions, BMS systems tailored to the needs of seniors and social needs and social and family with disabled people, for examples, and requirements defining the framework of the competition, such as number of flats, dimensions, standard of finish, surroundings of the buildings. And here you can see the example of the social housing, I think, the most significant demonstrator of the technology. And during the project, in each phase, the contractors compete by the same parameters, like lowest turnkey construction costs, lowest operating costs for 30 years, lowest energy consumption, best energy balance, highest level of recycling of building materials, lowest carbon footprint of building materials, and quality of demonstrators architectural solutions. And those were also set during the open market consultations. And here is the example of the single family house. What is important that all those demonstrators were built with the cooperation with our strategic partners, usually municipalities that have made land available for the construction of the technology demonstrators. And the technology that are being developed in our PCP allows to decrease the costs of building construction drastically, even with the equipment. So we show the market that it is possible to build green building cheaper than conventional ones, and it is really attractive for the Polish municipalities, which deals with the problem with the social buildings. Another project, HVAC for schools and houses. This scope of the project is very important for us because we are aware that this kind of installations are not effective in terms of both of air filtration and energy. And also before the open market consultation, we conducted a lot of analysis in Polish schools. And our key challenges defined for this project were to develop of distributed ventilation, recuperation systems, ensuring no heat loss, appreciate carbon dioxide and humidity levels, highly efficient and filtration, eliminating contaminants such as particulate matter organic compounds, viruses, and bacteria. And here you have an example of the full-scale demonstrator. During those projects, we cooperate also with schools from the south of Poland, which gave their classes to demonstrate the technologies. And mandatory requirements we set were to define a classroom and apartment, number of persons, occupancy schedule, outdoor and indoor air pollution, parameters of the test environment, and floor plan of the room with measuring points. And what contractors compete with? They compete with environmental air quality, microbiological air quality, ventilation efficiency, heat and cooling recovery, supply air humidity, electricity consumption, sound level, drought risk, and total costs. And here you can see the phase of tests where we set the test classroom, and we measure those systems developed during the project. Another very interesting, and here you can see the systems for houses, which was also developed during this project. And another very important branch of the building efficiency is heat and cold storage. And we were looking for the technology which have usage of short-term or seasonal storage, and which was energy efficient and emission free, which collects and stores the maximum energy available from RES and distributes it according to the building needs. And also we want this technology to reduce the cost of heating and cooling in houses and offices. And our aim was to develop the technology which can be installed in the existing buildings without not to big mess and to a big damage. So we can have a better thermal efficiency in the existing building. And here is the example of the house when we installed the power storage, and also we have partners among the private persons, and also they cooperate with us in testing of the technology. And here are some examples of electric power storage, batteries which we tested in laboratory in cooperation with the Warsaw University. And also the last example is the micro retention systems projects, when we wanted to develop the technology of the reduction in the consumption of tap water by storing and treating rainwater. Also during that project we cooperate with private owners of houses and also with municipalities, because we installed those systems in public buildings like schools and in private houses. And here you can see some examples of the systems in the private houses and in schools. So, and I think that the most the greatest advantage of the good open market consultation is to have the knowledge about the market, about the suppliers we can cooperate, and we have in NCBR those experience that you can set the criteria that can give a great effects. Well, if you start from the good position. So, and from my side, it's everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Agata. Very interesting, and I like also the examples of pre-commercial procurement that you presented. Some of our next webinars will be very focused on this topic, so it would be nice also to have you there here. I would suggest now to have a really short break. Thank you very much for the presentation, Agata and Katerina. I have some questions, but we can address them on the last session. So now I suggest we really have a short break of 3 minutes, and then we are back with Nikolai presenting Industry Day Institute. How does it work in the big science sector? So we will be back at 37, and then we will continue. Thank you. So I'm back. I hope also some of you are back. So Nikolai,
Yes.
would you be ready to share your views on industry days and maybe
Yes,
compare it
certainly,
with open
certainly.
market consultation? How you
I
see it?
can certainly have a discussion there, but let me share my screen here. 1 second. I'll do it like this. Then this one is sharing. Yeah. So is this okay, Joseph?
Yes, it's fine. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, so a bit about Industry Days and how we've been doing it in Big Science DK. Just going to introduce Big Science DK and then talk a bit about a project we were involved in, not about innovation procurement, but about ILOs and the whole role of ILO, which also had some good recommendations about how to organize Industry Days. But just briefly, in Big Science DK, we help those Danish suppliers to the international big science organizations where Denmark is a member. So we have a network of some 400 companies where most of them are actually small and medium-sized enterprises. And we've been doing this since 2010. A couple of us are even still involved after these 15 years. But the whole idea is that we made an office where we are collecting the knowledge about both the facilities and the different Danish suppliers that are relevant. And we regularly discuss how to improve the conditions and the return from these Danish companies. So just in a brief figure, how we are engaging with the companies. On the far left side, we're working closely with the companies to develop their competencies and basically enable them to make more competitive offers. Then in the middle, we're also working with the companies to stimulate their interest in joining a collaboration or supplying something to the big science sector. And just on the right side of the handshake, we're working closely with the big science organizations to promote the Danish companies, to bringing them together. And then finally, on the far right, it's more politically, we're working as ILOs in the boards within the big science organizations to affect the way they perform their procurement. So this is also a good place to really promote the innovation procurement. Now, industry events is placed right here in the middle. So this is where we get the companies and the facilities to meet each other. So it's really a key feature of what we're doing in Big Science DK. So it was also quite predominant feature of the project called Enrich, which it's already 4 years ago now, but it was actually a really nice project where we started digging into this whole role of ILOs. The consortium included both 5 organizations with ILOs from different countries, but also a lot of the big science organizations, and really tried to dig into extracting the best practices about how should big science or research infrastructure so that it's also called. How should they work both together with ILOs, but also together with industry? And then it dug into the whole role of ILOs, what kind of skills and KPIs. And as I said, also about how to organize industry events. So we recently made all the deliverables from the project available from the PERIA website. They can also be found on the EU website. But I certainly encourage that a lot of these things you can dig into and find more details to inspire you about the work as ILOs. I'm going to extract a couple of graphs and figures, which are mainly from the survey we did in Enrich among ILOs. And here are the first results. So we noticed that ILOs are very different, can be employed by both government agencies, but also commercial institutions and also research infrastructures themselves. The map on the top right there is just the statistics on who responded. I think we had some 35 responses as far as I remember, which covered a lot of Europe, so that was quite nice. A lot of the ILOs engage with quite a lot of companies, so that's worth keeping in mind, especially for the big science organizations when they need to engage with industry. And then just one result regarding the KPIs, that it's all about geo return. How much money does the facility place in the country? Digging a little bit more into what do ILOs do? Then this is assessment from the ILOs, and the top score, as you see on the top graph, is just providing information about tendering opportunities. Then the second one is also worth highlighting when we're talking industry days, matchmaking, research infrastructures and industry. And then I thought it was funny also to take the statistics at the bottom to see what are the tools that ILOs use, and really events together with industry is the top scorer, together with also maintaining a database of companies. Now, part of that's the role of ILOs and how we engage with our industry. There's some other aspects that I just sort of flag here. One question is, what are the industry sectors? And if, as you notice on the top right, that electrical and electronic engineering and mechanical engineering are very big. Most of the ILOs are engaged with the sectors, but it actually covers a lot of different things, ICT and construction and all other kinds of sectors. Secondly, it's worth being aware about the difference that these companies are playing. So the bottom right graph shows that 42% of the ILOs feel that it's the customized project that really feel. And when we start talking about innovation procurement, then obviously it's not off-the-shelf supplies. But it's just important to know that there's this difference. And you have to make sure that when you're talking innovation procurement, you're talking to companies that can provide customized products. Then the final thing I included was we asked the ILOs, who do they engage with, so the whole ecosystem. And it's also worth noticing that a lot of these companies, they're already in industry association or different innovation hubs, and we have to be careful that we don't invent our systems ourselves, but really use the ecosystems that are out there. Now, just as an example, I'm gonna find the video here from Big Science Business Forum. I found it on LinkedIn, so I hope that this works with the sound. In any case, there's some texting, so if you can't hear the sound, then you can read the text. Yeah, so almost a commercial here at the end. Just find the presentation again. Because to me, I mean, talking about industry days, the Big Science Business Forum is really unique since you get the right people together there, and you can see the participants were also thrilled to be part of that. Now, just in the end, let's see how I change. So my slide is not changing at the moment. Just gonna stop sharing and then resharing. 1 second. Now I try to share again. Yes. So then how do you make a good industry day? And I think the first point is to speak to the customers. And here the customers are the big science organizations. They need to buy in, and the companies need to buy in. For the big science organization, you need to talk to them. The thing they want to talk about, is there actually a budget for it? Are they open to meet new suppliers, or do they already have the suppliers they need? And are they willing to take some risk when we're talking innovation? And for the suppliers, for the companies, is there actually an interest in really engaging with the big science organizations? Also, are they willing to invest the time when you're talking innovation processes? And also you should have a look at, are they actually capable of innovation? So I showed the graph before with some people, it's mainly off-the-shelf solution, then they're probably not the right audience. A couple of good advice there: be in good time. All the companies I speak to, it's always about prioritization. Where do they think they can harvest the best results? Both looking at income for the company, but also looking at how to develop the companies. We also learned that for a good industry day, there should be opportunity for both the buyers to present what they need and for the suppliers to present what they can do, at least at a one-to-one session. So that's also one of the reasons that the Big Science Business Forum is a great event, since it really focuses on those two aspects. Just adding on innovation, then my experience is it's also quite important to really communicate the potential gains. For a company, they may not be used to talking innovation and what can be developed, and they may need some help in understanding how can they realize a gain, maybe not from the first contract, but then from developing something they can sell afterwards. And just in the end here, a couple of good advice when it's also about collaboration. Seeing where the technology and competences match is really key, both looking at the companies and also at the suppliers. Are they ready to meet the companies in the right place? I think risk is a key word, so that's my point number 2. It's good to be open about the risks that both sides are taking, both the public, the big science organization who are doing the procurement, but also the risk in the companies that they need to invest more time in it. They may also have some limits about how open they want to be, and that has to be respected. As an ILO, we often sit together with both the big science organization and the company and work out what's the win-win scenario. And this is really a key to making it a partnership rather than just a one-way supply. And that's really needed when you're talking about innovation. Human chemistry plays a bigger role that one would think. It's clear if you join a couple of meetings with potential customer suppliers to see, okay, will there be build a trust, or is this sort of is there too much skepticism on both sides, because then you're wasting your time really pushing it forward. The human relation really matters. At the same time, this is a competitive world, so you have to be open and fair. So if you're an organization, you have to be able to allow other people to make bids, and if you come to, you have to respect that as well. For the more sort of specific parts about how to organize a day with industry, we actually, or Big Science Sweden, actually made a quite nice deliverable as part of this Enrich project that I mentioned. So this is also, you can go in and download it and get some good pointers about what are the steps you should do before your event. I incited a picture there, but it was also during the event and after the event as a follow-up. And I think that's actually quite good and still valid. So that's what I had, Joseph. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nikolai. I think it's very interesting, and this practical guide how to organize the industry days, I think, are very valuable for our participants. In fact, the idea of combining on this presentation open market consultation industry days came to me when we, as INPROCAP project, we were invited to industry day at Sweden at Lund. And I'm not coming from BSO sector, but seeing there on my own eye how it is organized, and it really reminds me of preliminary market consultation, something that is the way how public procurers in other sectors let's consult with in a legal way consult with the market their needs. Obviously there are some differences, so it's great that we still have some time for discussion. I will just share it now, the last presentation here. And we have also, I think, one question coming from our audience. So the question, I'm not sure if I can now see it here, but maybe Lucia, can you please share it with us? I think the question was from Ana Santa Cruz.
You mean just read it?
Yes, please read it.
Okay, so the question is, once you have completed the open market consultation, that bidding procedure have you chosen? How long did it take you to process subsequent bids?
So I think this question is more for Katerina and Agata. So after you finish your open market consultation, what procedures did you take? And then I have one comment about it. So feel free, Katerina or Agata, to answer this.
I think I will answer because Agata unfortunately cannot stay with us longer. But in general, in our case, in NCBR case, we are considering only the innovation procurement formulas. And in our case, it was innovation partnership or pre-commercial procurement. And the great majority of our proceedings, it was, as Agata shown us, pre-commercial procurement. And how long did it take? Well, unfortunately, pre-commercial procurement is a procedure that is not popular in Poland, not only among public buyers, but also among the contractors. So, well, to be honest, our first PCPs, it was the beginning of our adventure with such formula, and it was the beginning of the adventure for our potential contractors. So, to be honest, these first 3 PCPs, even if we had earlier this OMC, it took us unfortunately long. It took us like 5 months from the announcement of the PCP till the signing of the agreement with the contractors, because we had some, let's say, some comments, some remarks to the tender documents. And,
okay, I understand.
Yes,
it's
but I think that I need to continue to that, because with other PCPs that were, let's say subsequent next PCPs after this first 3 PCPs, I've just checked. It took us shorter. It was, for example, like 2 months from the announcement of the tender documents till publishing the rank list and to begin the signing up process. So it was longer, and in this area, I can say that unfortunately, I think that this fact that these innovation procedures are not so popular, it influenced our procurement and the duration of achieving, let's say, the contractors and signing up the contracts with them. Yeah,
Okay.
but with
Thank
each
you very
PCP,
much.
it
I
was
think,
shorter.
yeah, no, I mean, 2 months for starting the PCP, like pre-commercial procurement, to signing the first phase agreements. I think this is very good time. And in fact, our role here in the still kind of in the beginning of innovation procurement process, there are many projects that we try to have that are introducing this topic, like INPROCAP, to the stakeholders to explain what is it about and how we can make it work and how we can make it faster. There was still one question, or part of the question was that their experience, I think Anna Santa said, her experience was that the suppliers were not willing to take part in open market consultation, and I think this is true, but it really depends. In some countries, I have experienced that, for example, in Portugal, it's really not that popular for suppliers to take part in OMC. On the other hand, in Slovakia or maybe in Poland, in other countries, suppliers are quite willing to take part in this process. So, thank you, Katarzyna, for answer. My one question to Nikolai would be: so, you heard about open market consultation. You explained the industry days, and then we have, let's say, tenders. So, what do you think is the role of ILOs when the big science organization will publish the open market consultation? What could be the benefit of ILOs in that process?
Well, the benefit, as I mentioned, one key KPI for an ILO is to get business to the companies in that country. And the more sort of innovation, the better, so to speak. So really, there's what I also tried to show with the slide was that the ILOs are in quite close contact with a lot of companies and knows who would different things fit to, both technically, but also looking at the different products. So there is certainly a good potential there for using the ILOs really to engage with companies in different countries in a way that's much more qualitative than what you can obtain just by Googling different companies, which we also often see that's actually how the public procurers will try to find suppliers.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. I mean, this is obviously the benefit of ILO. So if the BSO organization will do the innovation procurement, and within that organizing open market consultation, they should really send this information to the ILOs, and they then can invite the suppliers to take part in this open market consultation. So there are some 5 points to remember, but because of the time, I would like to thank you, our speakers, and our participants, and invite participants to our next training. So next training will be on site, but it will be also possible to attend in a hybrid mode online. It will take place at CERN, which is great. And there we will have a practical exercise on open market consultation, but we will definitely discuss more the business case. So economic rationale behind innovation procurement projects, because we shouldn't do innovation just for the sake of innovation. We should do the innovation if it did matter. So there should be some economical justification behind that, and we will look into that on 23rd of March. And then April, we will have a webinar on pre-commercial procurement, and 11th of May, we will have on innovation partnership. Before all of you leave, please give us feedback on this webinar. It's quite easy and it will take you maybe 1 or 2 minutes top. If you scan the QR code here, it should guide you to the survey, online survey, and please share your experience, but also your suggestion how we can improve future webinars on trainings here within the project with INPROCAP. Now, again, thank you very much to the speakers, to Katarzyna, Agata. Thank you for sharing your experience with innovation procurement and pre-commercial procurement. I think it's very wise from of Poland to invest European money in this this process of innovation procurement, because in fact you are funding R&D and then help through this process to commercialize the products to the suppliers. Very similar how the Spain are doing with their schemes. And thank you very much all our consortium partners being here, especially Nikolai, to sharing his views on Industry Day, how to organize that. Thank you for organizing, Lucia and Bea. And of course, thank you for participants. I hope you learned something interesting today, and I wish you nice rest of the day. Thank you very much.